that these nations had. They were shaving their beard. They were wearing togas. They had tattoos on them. They had brandings on them. You know, some of them were gladiators. Some of them were, there were different affairs of different things that they had. Some of them were poets, so on and so forth. They were keeping to the customs of these nations.
Yeah, I got another scripture because you made a statement. You said, how can they be, meaning the other nations, how can they be a part of something they never were part of? How can they return to something they never were part of? And this is one of the scriptures that back you up. This is the book of Isaiah 63 and 18. The people of thy holiness have possessed it but a little while. The people of the Lord's holiness is who? Israelites. Our adversaries, that's the other nations, have trodden down thy sanctuary. The main adversary was Esau, Edom. Vespasian, Caesar, Titus Caesar, Domitian Caesar. Yep. Have trodden down thy sanctuary, and also the Babylonians. They trodden our sanctuary. Excuse me. We are thine, thou never bearest rule over them. They were not called by thy name.
That's right. They were not called by their name because the name of the Most High was never upon these nations. That's why he called Israel, Yasha Allah. He is a prince of the Most High, of the power. So these other nations don't have that right or that benefit, and they never had it, and they never will have it. Because that's how the Most High laid it down. But now this is Matthew 18 and 15. It says, moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. Because you're trying to make it right with your brother, right? It says, and if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. So then you have to have a council on it, right? But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican. So basically, he's casted off as a heathen. And that's what that was a custom that they were doing back then. What do you think the whole situation about the Samaritans is all about? You had Israelites that were being accused of breaking the laws, and so that they wouldn't be judged, whether it was righteously or unrighteously, whatever the judgment was, they would flee into Samaria among those heathens that were put there, going back to the time of Shalmaneser. And they were being called apostates or heathens by the Jews that were in Israel.
Another precept for you, the book of Ephesians, beginning at the 2nd chapter, beginning at the 11th verse. It says, wherefore remember, and this is the Apostle Paul speaking to who? The Israelites in Ephesus who were following the Greek customs, because Ephesus was a Greek city. Calling themselves Ephesians. Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh. Right. Now, what does that mean? We just explained it. Yep. They were living in Ephesus. They were following the Greeks. They were acting just like the Greeks. Yep. So they were Gentiles in the flesh.
In time past.
In time past. Yep. Who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands. Right. If you want, you can interpret on it.
Yeah. Kind of in the flesh made by hands. In other words, you had the Jews that were known as the circumcision. They were calling the Israelite foreigners the uncircumcision. That's pretty much what that means.
Yep. One more verse. It says that at that time ye were without Yahushai, because it starts with Yahushai, right? Being aliens, strangers.
There's people that use that scripture to say that that's talking about the other nations, even Israelite groups. The Christians use that. That's talking about how the Most High is going to finally bring Israel together.
Yeah. That at that time ye were without Yahushai, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without the power in the world.
When you read certain scriptures, there's Israelites that were called strangers. You had Israelites that were calling themselves strangers. You had the Most High himself one time said he was a stranger. It's in the book of Psalms somewhere. I don't know offhand where it is. You know, but there, when you read throughout the scriptures, there's different times where Israel was being called strangers. You know, and that's what the whole mystery of the Gentiles is. That's why this is written in the book of Habakkuk or Habakkuk, the 1st chapter in the 5th verse. It says, "Behold ye among the heathen," those of you that are among the heathen, right? It says, "And regard and wonder marvelously. For I will work a work in your days which you will not believe, though it be told you." And what was that work that the Lord was going to work? He was going to bring those Israelites that were uncircumcised, that were being called heathens. He's going to bring them back out of there, out of that condition, and set them back up, you know, in their heritage, in their customs, in their language, you know, in the truth. And that's what was happening. You know, that's what, when you read the book of Acts, that was one of the main things that was going on in the book of Acts. You know, you had the apostles like Peter and them. They were gathering the Jews, you know, the ones that believed. But then the Lord used Peter to bring the first Gentile, which was an Israelite foreigner, into the fold, because that was the beginning of the Israelite foreigners coming back to their fold.
Which his name is Cornelius, which
right.
Elder Apostle Tahar broke down the name Cornelius. It means seed. And that is a pure case of Norman Oman. Name prediction, because his name predicted he would be the seed of those Israelite foreigners coming back to the truth. You know, through Yahushua. It starts with Yahushua. That's why I just read that there. What Paul said, that you were in time past, you were Gentiles in the flesh, that ye at that time were without Yahushua, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel. So Yahushua is the one that brings us back to our nationality, who we truly are. Starts with Yahushua.
Yeah, because prior to that, what were they? They were out there. They weren't circumcised. You know, they were Gentiles in their mind. And what brought them to that state? What was the thing that brought them to that state? The fact that they were worshiping idols, you know, and not worshiping the Most High. That's what brought them to that state. You know, whether it was through conversion, whether it was through a threat of the sword, or whatever the case is, as if the Lord allowed, you know, as we go in the lesson, we go over it. You know, this is our 1 Corinthians 12:1. "Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. You know that you were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as you were led." So a Gentile does not stop being a Gentile. Somebody of another nation is always of the other nation. The reason why the Apostle Paul said you were Gentiles, because you were in that Gentile state of mind. You were you were consumed with those with those customs and all of that.
Idols.
Yep. The dress code,
Yep.
Eating swine, you know, eating abominations that they were eating.
Yeah,
you know,
doing the things that they do.
That's it. You know, but now when you heard the truth and you accepted Yahushua, then you started coming out of that darkness.
Born again.
And you were born again. You came out. You started putting that filth off.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that dream that Peter had. The dream that Peter had, the vision that Peter had about the sheet let down with the unclean beasts on it. Those unclean beasts represented the nation of Israel in an unclean state.
Right.
You know, the ones that were scattered abroad that were being called Gentiles.
And then the statement that Yahushua made to his disciples in John 15:3, he said, "Now you are clean through the word I have spoken unto you."
That's right. And because that's what cleans you. That's what the scriptures say. You have to be baptized with water by the word. You know? I got one more here. This is Romans chapter 2.
Yeah, because if I can add that, the same guy that we were watching, his leader, which is, we call him Bubble-Eyed Blackfish, wasn't he out there baptizing people in water? Well, that's not part of this.
He was baptizing Edomites.
Yeah.
The baptism was symbolic.
That's right.
You got something?
No.
Okay, I'm going to go back to this Jeremiah, right? Jeremiah 12:14. "Thus saith Yahweh against all mine evil neighbors." The evil neighbors at that time was Israel, man, because they kept going off. "That touch the inheritance," which means land, "which I have caused my people Israel to inherit. He's talking about them. Behold, I will pluck them out of their land. Whose land? Israel's land. Well, who's there? Who was there at the time? Israel.
That's right.
So he's talking about Israel. Thus saith Yahweh against all my evil neighbors. Who is all of his evil neighbors? Israel. They were being evil, man. That touch the inheritance which I have caused my people Israel to inherit. Behold, I will pluck them, and I'm going to show you that as Israel. Behold, I will pluck them out of their land and pluck out the house of Judah from among them.
That's right.
Now, what happened? When you go into the history, you had two kingdoms.
Right.
So the Most High said, I'm going to pluck up one, because who got plucked up first? The kingdom of Israel, which is the northern kingdom.
Come.
And then eventually the southern kingdom, which was the kingdom of Judah.
Right.
So ultimately, what did he do? He plucked up the both of them out of the two kingdoms.
That's right.
Remember, this is after Kings, man.
Mm-hmm.
It says 15. And it shall come to pass, after that I have plucked them out, I will return. How can you return? After he plucked who out? Go back to the 14th verse. If you can't understand it, the clue is, and pluck out the house of Judah from among them. The them is the kingdom of Israel, the northern kingdom. Right. And it shall come to pass after that I will pluck them out, I will return and have compassion on them. Okay, let's suppose they're talking about other nations. The Most High is going to have compassion on the other nations? He's going to have compassion on the ones that he plucked out of his land. I mean, it's simple, man. I will return and have compassion on them. Who? Judah. It mentions Judah. Then it mentions the evil neighbors. Who are the evil neighbors? The rest of Israel. It says, and will bring them again, every man to his heritage. What does the word heritage mean? Your land. He's going to bring them back to their land. It ain't talking about Edomites, because Edomites are not going to have their land. Matter of fact, the scripture says we're going to have Esau's land. Simple as hell. And every man to his land. Every man among who? Israel. And it shall come to pass, if they will diligently learn the ways of my people. Who are the Lord's people? Israel. Who are these people that he's going to have compassion on? Israel. Because didn't he say, go give me the law of my, Hosea 1. Because it even said, it comes out plain. Hosea came out and said it and said, look, you are not my people.
Right.
Go to the point.
Come. This is the book of Hosea, chapter 1, verse 10. Chapter 1, verse 8. Now, when she had weaned Laruhamah, she conceived and bare a son.
Stop, you're going too fast. Laruhamah is who?
That's the daughter of Hosea.
What does it mean?
No mercy.
No mercy.
It says, she conceived and bare a son. Then said the Most High, call his name Lo Ami.
What does Lo Ami mean? Now you got to know the Hebrew.
That's La'ah Aim Yah, which means not my people.
That's exactly what it means. La'ah, not, or no, Aim Yah, my people, not my people. So he's saying, call the first child, not my people.
It says, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your power.
Who is he talking to? Is he talking to Edomites? He's talking to Israel, man. Because as you read down, it's gonna explain it, man. Hey, man, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua gonna jack a lot of you clowns up, man. Like I've been saying, man, for years. None of you guys have you have no business out there teaching, man, because all you're doing is confusing the people.
It says, Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sands of the sea.
Hold up. Wasn't he talking about another nation? Now all of a sudden he's talking about Israel? No, it's the same people. But it's written the whole book is written parabolically, man. Read that again.
It says, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sands of the sea.
The Most High said, name that first child, not my people, because Israel's not my people no more. But yet, but my people is going to be as the sand of the sea. Even though I said they're not my people, at the end of the deal, they're my people. Go ahead.
Which cannot be numbered, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, you are not my people.
What place is that? It ain't talking about Rome, because the Roman Empire took over the Israelites and allowed them to keep the laws and so forth and keep the Passover and call themselves Israel. So it ain't Rome. It ain't Babylon. It ain't Assyria. Because everybody knew those are the Israelites. Okay, we're going to put the Israelites in slavery. It ain't talking about Egypt, because the Egyptians knew that we were the Israelites, man. It ain't talking about the Greeks, because the Greeks knew that we were the Israelites. That's why he forced the Israelites to eat pork and to build a place of workout and a place of exercise and eat, like I said, eat pork and wear a hat and follow the ways of the heathens, man.
And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them.
So what's the place? America. The place is over here, Babylon, America. Go ahead.
Ye are not my people. There it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power.
And who's telling the people that they're the sons of the living power? We are. The men of the Most High. Go ahead.
It says, then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel.
That now, wait a minute, hold it. Let's go back. Jeremiah 12:14. Thus saith Yahweh against all mine evil neighbors, which are Israel, that touch the inheritance, their land, which I have caused my people Israel to inherit. Behold, I will pluck them, the wicked Israelites, which all of them were deemed as being wicked, because they plucked all of them out. They plucked the prophets. The prophets didn't stick around. They were plucked out with Israel, man. I will pluck them out of their land. What land? Israel's land, and pluck out the house of Judah from among them. The kingdom of Israel was plucked out first by the Assyrians. Go back to the history. By Shalmaneser, give you a name. During the time of Hosea, which is Hawashai, King Hawashai, or Malach Hawashai. And the king that took Israel over was King Shalmaneser the fifth. All right, and then Babylon took control of Judah. Judah was still there, and they were taken into captivity. They were able to build the place up, but ultimately they were pushed out the land too.
It says, Hosea 1:11, then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel.
Who's the one head? Hosea 3. I'll tell you, Hosea 3 and 5.
The book of Hosea 3 and 5. Afterwards shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord their power and David their king, and shall fear the Lord and his goodness in the latter days.
What time period are we in? We in the latter days. Okay?
This is the book of Jeremiah 31 and 18. I have surely heard Ephraim bemoaning himself thus. Thou hast chastised me, and I was chastised, as a bullock unaccustomed to the yoke. Turn thou me, and I shall be turned, for thou art the Lord my power. And Ephraim represents the northern kingdom. He was the head of the northern kingdom.
Yeah, because when you say Ephraim, you don't got to say Ephraim, Issachar, Naphtali, Gad, Asher. You don't got to say, all you got to do is say Ephraim, man. Or even Joseph.
It says, surely after that I was turned, I repented. So this is the Most High telling you, because remember, we were reading that they were plucked out. That was the northern kingdom, right? It says, surely after that I was turned, I repented. This is the Most High speaking. You know, after he plucked, because there's a scripture, I believe it's in Jeremiah, where when we went into captivity, the Most High, shed a tear for that. You know, because we're his people, but since we were disobedient, the Most High had to spank us. Yep. You know? It says, surely after that I was turned, I repented, and after that I was instructed, I smote upon my thigh. I was ashamed, yea, even confounded, because I did hear the reproach of my youth. Is Ephraim my dear son? Is he a pleasant child? Most High is asking a question. For since I spake against him, when he plucked us out of the land, I do earnestly remember him still.